This is a type of video that I've been wanting to do for a long time now. No, unscripted, just yapping, because that's what I'm good at. And all videos that I'm going to make in this format will have a loose theme where I'll just yap about. And today's theme, as you can see, is rom-coms and love stories in general, and why I love them. And today I am pretty bummed up because something happened in my love life. And it's happened before. Actually, it's happened so many times. And I'm going to explain why I like romantic stories. I have my TV on here and I was watching Blue Box, the anime about the badminton player who's in love with the basketball player. And I discovered that I've always loved romance stories. I discovered in a sense that I remembered ever since I was ever since I started watching films and TV, the romantic subplots were the best parts for me. Like I'd watch iCarly just because I wanted to see who's gonna end up with Freddie, and we all know how that ended. But yeah, and growing up, there was this sort of mystique surrounding the romantic plots. And then as I grew older, I started to stray from that view, from that taste. Not because I didn't like it anymore, but because I thought it was irrelevant. I think you see, I as a teenager I was a film bro, and film bros are notoriously against romance. I don't know why. Unless it's a story about a romance that goes bad and everything goes to shit. Like, if you ask a film bro from 2015 what's their favorite films, almost 100% of the time, there will only be one film with a romantic plot, and that's Amélie Poulain. And I find that interesting. And then, as I grew a bit older, I started to get more interested in romance and love, and I started to go out with girls. And I had my first girlfriend when I was 16 to 17. And then I discovered the wonder of romantic comedies. And romantic comedies is my favorite genre of film. Like, it can be so refreshing. I don't know if that's the word I would use, but it's more, I don't know. It's nice, for a moment to be in a world where romance is the main theme. And for those who've ever been in love, when you're in love, it kind of feels that way, don't it? Like, all of your thoughts, all of your energy, everything is surrounding the fact that you are in love, that you love someone. And as somebody who has problems with dating, and I'll get into that later maybe, the romantic stories, and that encompasses not just films, but also TV shows, anime, manga, comics, and video games, all of that. It's kind of my way of using an over the counter. It's kind of an over the counter way of consuming romance in a way that I actually don't get to experience that much. Because, first of all, I don't go out much anymore. I don't really have money to go out. Um, and I also live very far from places where people would go. And also, something that I've been ruminating about a bit later, people don't like to take things slow. Now, one thing about me is, for those who don't know me, for those of you who are not my friends watching this, I am demisexual, and sexuality, as you know, is a spectrum. So there's the allosexual people who can just have sex with strangers, and there's the asexual people who don't have sex at all. I am demisexual, and I am more geared towards the asexual part. So what that means is that I, as an individual, like to take things very slow. I don't like to rush things. And that's something that I've been noticing a lot lately, is that people want to feel every emotion instantly. Like, they want to fall in love in a week. They still want to fall in love at first sight. And I get it. It's a nice thought to have. Like, you're walking down the streets, you lock eyes with somebody, and they're the one. They are the one you're going to marry and spend the rest of your life together. And I just don't feel that way with most people. Like, I was talking to my friend the other day about that, because he knows very well that I like to take things very slow, like really slow. I don't like to rush things. I am very skittish about hurting people and hurting myself as well. So I try not to get involved too much, if that makes sense. And it's not something voluntary, it's more like an instinct. Like, if I notice something is going very fast for my taste, I just kind of panic and freeze. And then I have to assess to the person that I need some space and time to process things. And usually people view that as a sign of uninterest, like I'm not interested in them, like I'm not attracted to them, but it's just the way I am. People expect things nowadays to go in a pace that is not optimal. Like, how are you gonna fall in love with somebody you don't even know? And I have fallen prey to that, falling in love at first sight with people who I don't actually talk. I think every teenage boy and girl has fallen in love with that one classmate that is really hot and seem to be nice and friendly, but you never actually talk to them. And even if they are your friend, you never actually express those feelings to them. And I've done that countless times in the past. And after the last time I did that, I promised myself I would never, ever hide my feelings from someone. And I have been succeeding in that. But on the other hand, what I also end up doing is I take things too slow sometimes, and people are used to having things. Well, I don't know if you can hear the church bells. It's 10 o'clock now. But things, I don't like taking things to the next step, like instantly. That's why I don't have casual sex. I just can't wrap my head around it. I need some connection, and connection takes time to build. Sometimes connection is already built from the first few interactions. I think that is possible, and I've seen it happen, and it has happened to me. But on the other hand, you also have to be careful not to fall into the hole of rushing and wanting things to go too fast. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but that's just the idea I want to convey, you know. And I wish with all my heart that I wasn't this way. Like, it is more a curse than a blessing, because I too want to be loved, I too want to experience those feelings. But it's just not how I was built. So then I'll be talking to someone and we'll be having a nice chat for a few weeks. We go on a few dates, and then suddenly they stop talking to me, and then I go up to them and say, "What's happened? What's going on?" And they say, "Oh, I found somebody else, and I'm in love." And I'm like, "Oh, shit, okay." And I think the word for that is intensity. People want intense things, and intensity is good, but only when it's built up. Like, you're not gonna build a skyscraper from the top. The pyramids were not built from the top, they were built on foundations. They have a strong foundation. That's why the pyramids have been around for like 6,000 years, I think. That's why buildings like the Empire State are standing even after 100 years. It's because the workers, the engineers, they took time to study the ground, to build the foundation from the ground up. And people just want to build stuff from the top. They just want the sky, they don't want the ground. And I've been in this rut lately of people going out with me. They expect me to be intense as they want to be. And that's something that is very common in my country. With dating apps, I've been avoiding people who say they are intense, because that's just not how I operate. And I've been thinking of getting rid of dating apps altogether, because I never had much luck in there. Like, I got matches, I got dates, I've met some pretty cool people there, but on the long run, it's just a waste of time. The most significant relationships I had were with people I met in person doing something else. I never actually had a girlfriend from a dating app. I had some pretty good friends with benefits thing things, but nothing that went beyond that. And back to the topic at hand, why I love romance stories is because they allow me to experience that feeling of, at least for a moment, of loving bliss. Um, Yesterday I finished this game called Eternum, and I plan on making a video about it. And what I love about Eternum, it is a non-safe for work game, by the way. So if you don't like sexual stuff, don't play it. Or play it because you can just skip the sexual stuff. You can. It's not actually mandatory. But that game, it scratches that itch in my brain of meeting someone, going out with them, and building a relationship, because it's getting very hard to do these days, because people just want to rush things, and it's like it's getting hard to meet people who are on the same wavelength as I am. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying that my way is the only way to go, but it's hard not to feel alone when you feel that you are a certain way. And yes, this is a crochet hook. That being said, there are other parts of life that are as enjoyable as. What the fuck was that? There are other parts of life that are as enjoyable as romance. And I've been trying to focus more on those parts of life lately. Because I have all the romance I need in films, books, manga, and etc. And hopefully one day I will get to live another great romance story like I did before, which I was so grateful for. And I am sad to say that it didn't work out, but it's still part of life. And I hope I'll get to go out and one day, lock eyes with someone, and know that they're gonna be the one, at least for a few years. And that's it. It's just some random bullshit that came into my brain about romance and love. You don't have to like or subscribe if you don't want to. You don't even have to watch the end. Yes, you wouldn't hear me say that if you didn't watch the end, but you do you, mate. I'm just posting bullshit on the internet. I don't really care. So, peace out, homies.